Welcome to ABL Hot Corner, the show that brings you all the good stuff around the Australian Baseball League. I'm Brooke Boris Kilpatrick, and with me as always is Jamie Janga Clothing, and tonight we're going to be talking about playoffs, ejections and a stack of home runs. Kick things off, Janga, what caught your eye over the weekend?
Was it the Bandits? I was looking at the Bandits series against the Blue Sox, and they are looking like the team to beat.
They're legit, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Well, they took the series 3-1. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, they're throwing the message out there to the rest of the league that you have to be pretty good to beat us.
Big winners over the weekend because only team to win a series, with the other two being split. So stronger and stronger, the Bandits.
Just streaking ahead, yeah.
What else did you see on the weekend that you thought was interesting around the league?
Well, a bit of an incident here at Cooper Stadium with Joe and Trey Vavra getting ejected after the controversial home run call.
Yeah, it was interesting. The old Bunnings foul pole came into play. The ball went just left of the foul pole, but it was called a home run. And when the umpires conferred, it was overturned and things got a little bit ugly.
Yeah, very ugly.
Yeah, it wasn't it pretty? I mean, we've had some incidents out here with Adelaide and Melbourne, and it's continued. But I think Trey's got a bit of a holiday because of that, and might not be playing too much ball next weekend.
Not doing a huge amount this weekend, no. But well, what about you? The attendance is off the charts.
It was unbelievable. We had, I think Saturday night, every game had over 2,000 people, which is just sensational. So all you fans that went to the ballpark, give yourself a bit of a pat on the back.
We're slowly catching up to the Big Bash.
The Big Bash, yeah, just behind.
Yeah, just a couple more.
Just sneak it up on it.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there, mate. The other thing that I saw on the weekend was the old tie-break rule. Reared its head again.
Yeah, you love that, don't you?
Oh, you know, I'm just being a baseball purist, I just love the tie-break rule.
Yes, yeah, and a couple of different games copped it this week.
And the first series that it came in was Sydney versus the Bandits. You saw that series, Janga.
Yeah.
How did that one go for the Bandits?
Well, as we mentioned, very well for the Bandits.
Good.
Yeah, they would have just been looking to keep fine-tuning things going into it. A big series really with Sydney performing well, and they've got a lot to play for at the moment. And that's how they jumped out the box too with game one. They shot out with a 6-3 victory on the back of a great start by Craig Anderson. The veteran just keeps rolling that left arm over. Yeah. And a couple of long balls too from Alex Howe and Reece Hoskins. They were enough to provide the offence.
Hoskins had a monster series, didn't he?
He was great. And just sitting in that 3-hole, just good for a couple of hits a game. The occasional home run just really anchors that lineup. But the big story of this game that I saw was the strong Bandit staff just couldn't keep runners off base. The Blue Sox picked up 10 hits, but also got 8 walks and hit by pitch. So it's pretty tough to win a game when you're letting that many blokes on base.
They find a way though.
Yeah, they do. But well, things straightened out for them in game two. They got Jason Jarvis on the hill, put in a solid performance, but really struggled early and gave up 5 consecutive hits, 5 singles in the first inning, and then another roll of 3 in the second. So it was 5-0 after 2 innings.
Interesting after losing the first game 6-3, being in the hole sort of 5-zip.
Yeah.
I know myself was thinking, wow, Sydney, they're on fire.
Yeah. Well then
things changed.
Well, it's changed in a hurry. 6 runs in the third, so suddenly they're at 6-5. It turned into a slugfest really, and we were expecting Jason Jarvis versus Wayne Lundgren to be a pitcher's duel. Both guys have been good all year.
The last couple of weeks, there haven't been too many low-scoring games.
No, and certainly we've turned out this way. And the final scoreline of 13-8. The big bats, Justin Williams and Donald Lutz, both got 3 hits each to really provide a lot of the offensive push.
Yeah, Williams, unbelievable, red hot.
He is, and I think by the end of this weekend, at the end of the series, he had actually jumped up to take the lead in the batting title.
Yeah, no, he's been very impressive.
So, games 3 and 4, just to finish off, they went the way of the Bandits too. As we said, they won the series 3-1. Game 3 was an 11-inning marathon, which featured one of those tie-break rules.
Tie-break rule.
But in that one, it was obviously starting with the runners on first and second. Andrew Campbell, I think it was up there bunting, but wasn't needed. He walked his way to first base to load him up. Braylon Jackson nailed one to the fence in right centre for what was a walk-off single. Would have been a double or triple any other time, but drove in the run, and so that sorted out game 3. And game 4, that was another offensive game with Brisbane getting up 10-4 to take the series. the series finale, again, obviously, offence was the story of the day. So, Donald Lutz, Logan Wade, TJ Bennett knocked out a grand slam.
Yeah. One of the things is we expected that probably series to be a little bit lower scoring with the pitching on both sides.
Very much so.
Once again, it was just bats dominating.
It was.
Brisbane just too good. They, like we said before, they bat right from number 1 through to number 9. No easy outs.
No, none at all. We look at, like I say, TJ Bennett hit a home run. We spoke about him with his home run binge last week. We spoke about that, and he's sitting down in the 8 hole.
Yeah, yep.
That's crazy. But I guess, but Sydney has still got that bright spot at the top of the lineup. Trent D'Antonio just kept getting hits. He got
Having a
another 3
sensational season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just, as the season keeps going, he's getting better and better. So, but as series, as a whole, like you say, dominated by the bats, which was very surprising. But it's going to be tough to see anyone beating the Bandits if they keep playing like this.
I think it is, especially at home. I think at home they're maybe 19-5 or something or other. Their record at home is immaculate, so it's looking like very much there'll be a home championship series for Brizzy.
Yes,
the crowd will be out in force, and they're going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah, definitely.
Very tough to beat.
I guess a few things out of the series. Travis Blackley,
fair addition.
Yeah, pretty handy to throw in there at the end of the year.
So fair ad. So he'll, more than likely pitch a bit out of the pen. He started at game 4, I think, on the weekend.
A brief start, but he was the first one.
So he'll build up his strength, and just a fantastic ad for those guys. A guy with his experience, and talent.
Oh yeah.
In a lineup that's probably got the best pitching already. It's just the rich get richer.
Very much so.
The poor get the pitcher.
Exactly.
Yeah, quite incredible.
But as Sydney, I thought still played some pretty good ball.
Played some good ball. Yeah, and they've still showed a bit. They're only sitting just behind Adelaide at the moment, so certainly not out of it.
No.
And next weekend's going to be massive.
Yeah, the end of this season is going to be great. And Brisbane looking like they're the goods, like you say, probably looking the goods to be the home team in the Championship Series, but Sydney very much still in the mix. Just took a little bit of a beating this weekend.
Well, certainly the betting line shows Brizzy now at $2, I think, at the moment. Gamble responsibly. And Canberra Cavalry at $3.20. So
so the betting agencies are saying they're the 2 to beat. And,
kind of reflects happening on the weekend.
Yeah, well, next best they've got Adelaide Bite paying $8, so they definitely think they're the 2 that are clear favourites to be around the mark.
I think that's fair enough too, given that it's going to be more than likely home series for Brisbane. $2, it's probably not such a bad bet.
Yeah, no, very strong looking team right now.
Yep. So Sydney's still in it. They're only just behind Adelaide, 1 game behind. And I think with 2 series to go, they'll still be pretty keen.
Oh yeah. The Adelaide, Sydney, Perth matchups. The race home is just every game is crucial. Every game, they're so close.
Certainly is. So Sydney's still in it, but Brisbane certainly the goods.
I think so. Okay, Boris. So you're going to look over the Melbourne Adelaide series for us, but first, I wouldn't mind you explaining that top that you're wearing. Where's that?
Okay, this is the Avigliana Bees, which is in Italy, just near Torino, outside of Torino, and the guys play a league up there. Sensational. We got looked after there in the World Masters a couple of years back. So to all the Avigliana Bees, big shout out. Thanks for being with us.
There we go.
It's beautiful. You got the bee right there. Check out the bee.
Thank you for the explanation.
No worries. So Melbourne and Adelaide, split 2-2. Adelaide would have been a little bit probably upset they didn't get 3-1 or sweep. But Melbourne played some pretty good ball. Yep. Game 1, Matty Larkins, as we've spoken about all year, has been very solid.
He's had a great season.
Yeah, he came out and had a solid game. Bats warmed up for Adelaide in games 2 and 3. But the playoff hopes took a bit of a hit, and Will Lee got rocked in game 4. Really came out. First 2 innings, he gave up, I think, 7. And Aces ran out 8-4 winners game 4, scored 7 earned runs. And first, I think Lee lasted 2.1 digs.
Yeah, that's the problem for the bite, isn't it? Getting that last starting spot nailed down.
Really is. So it was a split. Melbourne played some pretty good ball, like I say. Josh Tolles had his 2nd consecutive start, had another win. He was good. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 Ks, and just the 1 earned run. So Tolsey sort of established himself as probably a guy for the next 2 series that's going to get a starting gig.
Well, he'll probably definitely, you think, get a gig this week again, and just if he keeps rolling and keeps winning, he'll keep his spot there.
I think so. They've really struggled to get those guys. Chambers has been good out of the gate. He didn't win on the weekends. He took his first loss actually, so 7-1, but he didn't pitch poorly.
Still threw a good game.
Yeah, threw a pretty good game, but Larkins was a little bit better. And Melbourne got over the line on that one. Virgil Vasquez for Melbourne struggled a bit this weekend. Lasted just 3.1 digs. and conceded 5 runs, but he walked 4, which has been his problem this season. He's walked too many.
Even coming out of the bullpen, he's still been letting run. He's been holding the scoring, but he's still been letting guys on base in most of his appearances.
And the flip side for Virgil this week is he didn't throw strikeouts, where he threw 1, I think, where in the past few weeks he's still been able to punch guys out.
Yeah.
Home run controversy, as we discussed.
Yeah. So what was the lowdown on that?
So basically, Trey Vavra hit one to deep left, went inside sort of left of the foul pole that goes to the Norwood Oval roof. So there's no way it could have been a home run, but first look for the umpire thought it was, called it a home run.
Yep.
Umpires conferred after Stephen Mintz said it was foul. Umpires conferred, they agreed it was foul, and old Joe came out steaming.
Not happy.
Came out steaming, had a few words. It was one of the longest ejections I've ever seen. He just followed the umpire around, eventually got tossed. But in the meantime, Trey got a bit upset, threw the bat, spat the chewy, the dummy, everything went out. Came out, confronted an umpire, which is just a big no-no. So he's going to have a bit of a holiday, as we discussed.
A few of his mates got on board too. They weren't happy either.
They did. A few of the boys jumped out of the gate, but luckily there was nothing like we saw last year. So there was no fisticuffs between the boys, which was sensational.
Yeah.
And I think the Melbourne guys got a bit of a send-off from the Shark Tank as they took a long walk to the left field change room.
Surprising, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Which was pretty interesting. For the bite, probably the unsung heroes, Johnny Schultz was really good in the lead-off spot.
He has.
He's had a big series.
He's come on well lately.
He really was.
Yeah.
And Leonard Hernandez, who's played sort of hurt the last few weeks, but got his licks in, and he's been hitting the ball really well. So those guys very good. And for Melbourne, Darryl George once again, Bowling Green hot rods.
Yes.
He was very solid, and Josh Davies played very well for Melbourne as well. So the 2-2 split, solid hitting performances all round. Pitching once again not probably sensational.
No, and that's the thing with the bye. Just nailing down who those starters are going to be, because if they're going to go to the playoffs with a 3-game series, Chambers would be a lock.
Absolutely.
If Tolles keeps going like he is, he may be one of those 3.
Matty Williams, I guess.
Williams is throwing well.
Matty threw well on the weekend again after a tough one last week, so 3 of his last 4 starts have been very good.
So perhaps they're the 3 guys. Perhaps Tolsey, the plan for him is to go back to the bullpen and mix things up. We just don't know, but there's a lot of options there. It's just going to be a matter of who's throwing the ball well at the time.
Needs to happen fairly quickly.
They got to get there first, don't they?
Because they have to get there. Next week in Perth is, as we discussed, is massive.
So there was a touch of AFL here too.
Touch of AFL. They had the Port Power and the Adelaide Crows boys out with a home run derby.
Any standouts?
Which was, I couldn't call it, mate. Rather not call it. It was pretty ugly all round, to be honest with you.
It's like the ones I've seen in the past that we have to make contact.
But a sensational promotion from the Bite, and got some bums on seats, as we discussed. Over 2,000 people here, so well done to the Bite for that. Now Adelaide retains 3rd place after the weekend, but just a one game lead over Sydney, who are right up there proverbial. So
close.
Things haven't really changed too much, and Melbourne played some solid ball despite being out of the playoff contention. They'll do well to show their fans that they can still play some good ball, because you've got to sell memberships for next year.
Exactly right.
Justin Hubert be there, trying to punt a few memberships over the line.
Yeah, so they'll be trying to be as strong as possible down these last few weeks.
So they won't be. That's right. They won't be. They won't be laying down. They still look pretty good.
Yeah, that's right.
So hats off to those guys, and they want to keep some fans in attendance in Melbourne. So go get them, boys, next week.
Definitely, but certainly out of the picture though for this year. They're 12 games behind now.
They have struggled.
They're done and dusted, but they can certainly still play spoilers.
They've played some really good baseball, but they just haven't won games, as we've said before. 2-2 split over the weekend and held their own.
Yeah.
On to the next series. We got Canberra at Perth, which was a sensational series.
As we expected, Canberra had a little bit of a rough trot lately, but still going well. And Perth, we're just waiting for them to really take off.
Well, we said last week we thought they'd do the trick. I thought they'd win 3, and they were that close to doing it, but didn't quite manage it. We had 3 of the 4 games went right down to the wire. There was 2 one-run games and 1 extra innings game.
Yep.
So it was a really fun series to watch. They've got some good crowds in. Crowd was firing up. Had a come from behind walk-off win in game 1, the Perth Heat, 6-5, which was unbelievable. They were down, coming to the bottom of the 9th, and managed to pump a couple of runs over the line. The last one coming on a throw to the plate that Jack Murphy couldn't pick, and scored the winning run, and there was wild scenes.
Oh, nothing like a play at the plate. Just ask Sid Bream.
The crowd and the Magpies went crazy, as you can hear in the background. Another amazing thing about that game was there was 5 home runs from Canberra, 3 from Ryan Miller and 2 from Jason Sloan. all solos.
All
They scored
solo,
5 runs, all from home runs.
Yeah.
Quite incredible. So the Cavs came back Friday night with a 3-2 win before Perth got to Cavs ace Steve Kent on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And Kirill Optimus Prime, Alan D. San Miguel,
Mhm.
and Derek Peterson all had big games in a 7-3 win.
Those same names again, D-San and Prime.
Yeah, well,
And,
D-San's been on fire.
Mhm.
Kirill's been sort of building, and he had a really good game. And yeah, Steve Kent, who we thought might master the Perth Heat over there,
Yeah.
didn't do the trick.
Well, he was unhittable there for a stretch, and again, him and Grenning both have struggled a little bit at times after being completely dominant at others. So they'll be hoping for them to sharpen up. Come
So a
forward.
nice, really quite refreshing to see a 3-2 ball game, and
Mhm.
not 15-13 or something
Yeah.
like that has been over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Perth ballpark's normally a low-scoring ballpark, which was quite amazing. There were 7 home runs hit in game 1,
Yeah.
which is unheard of in the Barbagallo, or as they now call it, the ballpark. They've had the wordsmiths working on that one. No
Creative.
doubt. Yeah, I think maybe some sponsorship deal there.
Not sponsored
It's
by
gone
that.
by the wayside, so sponsored by Dirt.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly. So Kingy, well done. So game 4, obviously big time for Perth, leading 2-1. If they pinched that one, they would have been right in the mix for that 3rd playoff spot.
Yeah.
And it went to extra innings. It was 5-all after 9. Went to 11 innings, and the Cavs piled on 4 with the old famous tie-break
Yeah, old
rules.
tie-break,
Yep. Actually, Sloaney bunted to put the bases loaded with the bunt base single.
Yep.
A single base bunt. Anyway,
Keep trying, keep going.
Yeah. He bunted for a single anyway.
So
Loaded the
single
bases.
base hit.
Yeah, single base. And then a couple of hits and 4 runs on the board.
Uh-huh.
So controversy, tie-break rules. Canberra get over the line. 2-all split. Perth fans not happy.
At all, no. And that's a big game for them when they're making that
Massive.
charge.
Yeah.
3-1 series would have just been huge for them and put them right in the mix.
Gorillas in the mix that would have put them right back amongst it. Not sure why I said that. Okay, so for the Canberra Cavalry, Lewis Cohen was the man.
Yes.
He weighs about 20 k's ringing wet, I reckon.
He's doing the job though.
He's a wiry dude, but he threw a great game and did the job game 2 for Canberra, which was probably the most outstanding performance pitching-wise in that series. Over
He's
the
been their
weekend.
strongest guy of late.
Yep. The game run on Thursday night was the throw to the plate, as I said.
Yep.
Jack Murphy couldn't pick it. And Perth, playoff hope still alive, not out of it.
It is, no. Well, they're only a game back of Sydney, who in turn are a game back of Adelaide.
Yeah.
So that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8 games to go, that could just change like that.
Yeah, so next week, Adelaide in Perth, probably the biggest series
Huge
we've
series.
seen for a while.
Yeah.
And Adelaide have really struggled in Perth over the journey,
Mhm.
so they'll need to pull out something special.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to have teams passing them for that 3rd spot.
Well, like I say, 2 games between the sides over 4 games, they could flip. I mean, if there's a sweep either way, that pretty much writes it off for someone.
Yep.
So yeah, it's going to be just a really, really good series of baseball.
So everyone alive except the Melbourne Aces.
Mm-hmm. It is, and the actual league, the ABL couldn't have wished for better. It's obviously this weekend saw the crowds come out. People are coming out because we're seeing good quality baseball, good entertaining baseball, and everyone's still a chance. There's obviously Melbourne are out, but you've got 5 teams that are still a chance of taking home the chocolates.
Absolutely. So Janga, before we get into the Flamethrowers, we're standing next to the controversial foul pole on our left
behind
here,
us.
which is the one that the Trey Favour incident occurred. As you can see, it's a quality piece of merchandise purchased from Bunnings locally, I believe.
It's a solid length of PVC. There should be no controversy at all.
So yeah, the PVC foul pole did the trick though. On the replay, you could clearly see it went under the roof and to the left of the pole.
Well, it's big, it's yellow. That's pretty much what a
Stands
foul
out.
pole needs to be.
Stands out. Okay, to the Flamethrowers this week, Janga. We had some a lot of hitting again.
Yeah.
Not a heap of fantastic pitching performances. But who's your guy? Who did you
Well,
have?
yeah, like I say, there's no real obvious standouts. So there's so much hitting going on. But I'm going to go with Adelaide bike guy Matt Williams.
Professor.
Yes. Yes, he's thrown in a few dominant performances this year, but he just rolled out there with 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, but still only 4 Ks, one earned run given up and got the win. So partly too is not so much the stats line that he put up, but just the situation it was for the bite. They needed a guy to go
It was
in there and give
important because they lost that first game. To come back was massive.
needed to put in a solid performance to keep them edging ahead of those other teams. So he's my guy this week.
And he's a competitor, isn't he? Like he really
he will keep going and going.
Competes hard, no matter the situation.
And whatever role he's playing. So it looks like this stage he's going to keep rolling as a starter. And
I think so.
He gives 110.
Absolutely.
You?
I'm going with Craig Anderson from the Blue Sox.
Another veteran.
Oh, the veteran. He was fantastic. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 1 earned run.
Yep.
And he threw 5 Ks, got the win. And that was the only win for the Blue Sox over the series.
Yeah.
Which was pretty unlucky given they played some pretty good ball.
Scored so many runs and still came away with just the one win. So
went into the old Bandits Express.
Yeah.
And now, Craig, any relation to Miss Anderson from the Cougar ads, Janga?
I don't know, does he like dessert?
I'm not sure, but his chocolate milk's the best.
Moving on. Honourable mentions.
Joshy Toles,
Yep.
once again. Second good start in 2 attempts, so hats off to Joshy, another competitor.
Yeah, exactly. Another one that's in the Williams mould. I'm going to say Lewis Cohen.
Massive unit,
Yes.
all 20 kilos of him.
Huge. But at this stage of the season, he's upstaging Grenning and Kent.
He was really good.
Yeah.
Yep, hats off to him. Matty Larkins, as discussed before, got the win for Melbourne in game 1.
He has been a workhorse
Consistently
all year.
good.
Yeah. And Ryan Searle, we haven't mentioned him yet in this episode, but he picked up the win in that extra innings game by throwing 3 innings.
He threw a whole 3 for a guy that's been a 1 inning guy this
Yeah.
season. Threw 3 strikeouts, got the win.
Well, throwing 3 innings and just instead of 1 at a time gets that ERA down lower too.
Yeah, it's down to about, I don't know, point nothing.
Point
0.2 or something
Exactly,
ridiculous. Tommy Bailey from Perth, who's been very solid for those guys, out of the 4 spot as a starter.
Could be very important.
He threw another 8 strikeouts again. Did give up 4 runs, but Tommy, it's been very good and really given those guys something to think about.
Yeah.
If they do make the playoffs, is their rotation.
And last one, Jason Jarvis. Even though he started off by giving up 5 in those first couple innings, like we mentioned.
Yeah, mentality is obviously very good.
Yeah.
Gave it up early, but
held in there, and as soon as he was handed the lead after that big 3rd inning, stuck around to throw, I think it was 7 in the end. Struck out 9 still, so still first 2 innings aside, pretty solid performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to the hot hitters. Hot hitters.
Hot.
We had a couple of guys that really just smashed the pill all over the park on the weekend. Who's your guy?
Well, I saw him with the Blue Sox, Reece Hoskins, mentioned before.
Unreal.
So the Phillies prospect, he went 8 for 18 with 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 6 runs, and nada in the strikeout.
Did
column.
not strike out, which, like, for a big dude hitting Johnsons is sensational. He may be the best player in the Phillies already.
What, not Ryan Howard? He's dominating these days.
Mate, Ryan Howard strikes out every at bat, so it's probably not him.
It's the anti-Hoskins. What about you, mate?
There were so many Brisbane Bandits guys I could have picked because they just, every one of them smashed it pretty much. But the guy I'm going for is Logan Wade.
Yeah, big series.
Yeah, 6 or 17, hit 2 home runs, 8 RBI, so he knocked in a lazy 8 of his teammates, stole 2 bases, and scored 4 runs. So Logan Wade is my guy in a sea of sensational performances by the Brisbane Bandits.
You're right, so many to choose from, but he's certainly worthy.
Yep. Some honourable mentions, as we discussed, Brisbane guys.
His teammate, Justin Williams, is just a phenomenal player right now, doing it all. He himself went 7 for 17, home run, 5 RBIs, scored 4, and his teammate Donald Lutz, the big bats.
Lutzy, like just incredible, smashed the pill. Another guy for mine, Johnny Schultz from Adelaide Bite.
Yes.
He led off and just had a really sensational series. So
for
those guys, like missing Cowan, he's really filled the void a bit there.
Yeah, well, he's a different sort of player than Cowan. He hasn't got that
absolutely.
crazy speed and tearing up the base paths like Cowan did, but he's been getting on base. He's been getting multi-hit games and throwing in the occasional long balls, some multi bases. So, yeah, good call.
Schultzy, hats off. All right, now money on the line, Janga. Predictions for this week. 2 rounds to go. Things are getting pretty interesting.
Yeah.
As far as playoff spots go, Brizzy are locked in. Canberra are almost locked in.
Almost there.
But not quite there.
Still enough games left for them to stumble if they really fall in a hole.
And they've got the first series at home, and they're going to face Sydney. How do you see that one?
I'll go the split purely because Sydney have been up and down with their pitching, and I think this week they'll be up. It's time for they gave up a lot of runs on the weekend, and they'd be the first guys to admit that they know they didn't quite get it done. So I reckon they'll be back. Split up.
Like the way you're thinking. I really like the way Sydney played, even though they went down 3-1 to Brisbane. They played some pretty good ball. Canberra's pitching is off the boil as far as the starters go.
Yeah.
But they still have the quality of Kent, obviously Granning. Cohen, as we discussed, has been
Cohen's
pretty
been
good.
Yeah.
So they should be okay, but they've just struggled a bit. But I think, it's probably going to be a split.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'll go with. Brisbane heading down to Melbourne, take on the Aces.
Melbourne are going to be in a bit of strife without Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Trey's been very good for those guys, consistent hitter, good hitter all year.
Yeah.
Brisbane, red hot, ridiculous, out of control. Maybe they don't go all guns blazing given where they're at the moment, but hard to see them dropping too many.
Whether they mix and match a bit with the lineup and rotations, I suppose.
Still going to say Brisbane 3-1. They're just playing too good a baseball not to win that series, I think.
I agree exactly with that. And the main reason there, I think that it won't be as much as Brisbane top, Melbourne bottom. You could easily say sweep and get away with it, but Melbourne have actually got some really good arms, and I can't see
they
them
have got some good starters.
Not winning a game with Larkins, with Vasquez at the top there. I reckon they'll
Sam
jag one.
Gibbons too came back on
Yes,
the
yeah,
weekend
he's
for
back.
them. Only threw I think 1.2, but threw some pretty good pitches.
Yep.
And he'll get better as obviously his appearances increase.
Yeah, so I'll go the 3-1, same as you there.
Well, we're agreeing. Janga, what's going on?
We'll mix it up in the last one.
Finally, Adelaide at Perth, which is just monstrous, bigger than Ben Hur, bigger than Texas.
Yeah.
Massive series. What do you think?
I'm actually going to go with the home side 3-1. But Perth just ready to erupt. Adelaide have got so much to play for, but you just keep waiting for Perth to do it.
I think for me the problem with Adelaide is they've always struggled in Perth. Perth have played some very good baseball on the weekend. Like I say, they're ramping up a bit. Their pitching's been pretty good.
Yep.
Edwin Carl's probably the guy they need to sort of come back into a bit of
He
form.
needs to get out of his
He's
funk, doesn't he?
struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
But Veal and Bailey have looked the goods.
And they got Mitchinson at the back end still, so they've got the bullpen as well.
Yeah, Wazis got some more work in, starting to look a bit stronger as well. So, well, this is unprecedented, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going for Perth 3-1 as well.
All three?
All three, we agree. So
Crikey.
that means we're going to be obviously completely wrong.
And results will be all over the place.
So anything could happen. But that's it. That's our selections.
Yep.
Now, just to wrap things up, get on the Twitter, get on the Facebook. Speaking of Twitter, we had Monica Madness running during the week, and that was the Canberra Cavalry edition.
Yes.
Surprisingly, Jason Leblebigion did not take the chocolates.
Didn't get it. It was his mate Brian.
Brian Pounds took it down. So we now got Brian Pounds. He's going up with Kirill Optimus Prime.
Yes.
We've got
Double X.
Takeuchi Yamaguchi,
That's him.
who we love. Aaron Suki. And for Brisbane, who took it out?
Big Max.
Max Double X, Tissin Bomb.
That's him.
So we've got some pretty good names
Some
in
good ones there.
Next round coming up will be Adelaide. So we know we've got some great names there. Travis Tingle comes to mind.
That is a favourite of yours, isn't it?
It is a bit of a favourite of mine. So keep your eye on Twitter. Vote in the ABL Hot Corner Monica Madness. Get on Facebook. Tell us what you think. Get out to the ballpark this weekend with 2 rounds to go.
Lots of people are.
So much good ball to be seen. Get your bums on the seats. Have yourself some nachos or some ice cream out of a helmet. Have a lager. Have a few words. Tell the players what you think. Have some fun and see you at the ballpark. Till next week, this is Brooke, Boris, Kilpatrick and
Jamie Jane Cloden.
signing off. Thanks for being with us.
See you later.